Michael J, aka Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax, and get comfortable. Enjoy the ride. Michael J, aka Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, Michael J. Okay, it helps if I turn on the microphone. That's always a great addition. So, a little bit of a late start due to technical difficulties. So, I just tested. I should be coming through okay. You may have heard a bit of a reverb. So, it should be fine now. If not, let me know in chat. So, we're going to start with WTF, like what the, you know what I mean? Now, wargaming, talking about super CVs and jets. Can you believe it? Super CVs and jets, like these guys. I don't know, what have they been on, party mode and just haven't had sleep for a couple months and hey, anyways, I'm just throwing darts against the wall now. Friggin' dartboard fell on the ground. Holy crap. Okay, so let's see what our good buddy Flamu has to say here. He's got the development blog up. Questions, comments, throw in chat, please.
I told you guys that if they don't post the devlog for a long time, then that's usually a bad sign. That's usually a bad sign. And my God, if that wasn't the absolute truth, I predicted this like to a T. When they don't post the devlog for a long time, you know, they're cooking up something absolutely heinous. Let me get something to drink. When they don't post for a long time, they're like a witch, like standing over their kettle, standing over their pot, and they're just adding like evil and diseases and plagues. They're adding all of them into this pot and they're stirring the pot in their hut. And this is like the moment when we finally get to see what they've been stirring in that pot of shit for all this time. Oh boy, let's see. Let us see. I'll put on a bit of music in the background. Okay, so close test 0.11.1. Japanese cruiser Maya. Japanese cruiser Maya, American aircraft carriers Hornet and Yorktown, as well as 2 new super ships. British aircraft carrier Eagle and Japanese aircraft carrier United States are added to the game for testing. Okay, Who in their right minds doesn't consider CVs in their current states as already being super ships? They're already super ships. Oh my god. 2 super carriers? American Aircraft Carrier United States. Jesus. What did I say? British Eagle and American Aircraft. I don't know what I said. I must have read this part. Japanese cruiser Maya. Tier 7. So they're reusing the Atago model. They just removed the turret. That's kind of what it looks like. They should be here and the turret here. They kind of moved it to the back and reused the model. A heavy Takan class cruiser. In the midst of World War II, it underwent a refit during which one of the... Okay, I'm just gonna mute it now. Thank you, Daniel Dansko. I'm gonna mute it because it's getting annoying. It underwent a refit during which one of the main caliber turrets was dismantled and anti-aircraft artillery was significantly strengthened. AA. Are they actually trying to give an IGN ship AA? The cruiser is armed with 8 powerful 203mm guns that have high accuracy and chance to cause fire by HE shells but low firing range. Okay. She is also equipped with 4 610mm quadruple torpedo tubes with a wide aiming angles and high torpedo damage and speed. So IGN torps probably. Wide aiming angles. Maya has good concealment, high speed and HP pool, well armored deck but a vulnerable citadel. She is equipped with a main battery reload booster consumable, which is not standard for Japanese cruisers, along with the repair party and fighter consumables. And a choice between defensive AA fire and... What? It's just... What? How many things are they squeezing into this thing? Hello? In comparison with Atago, Maya is equipped with main battery reload booster and has more powerful and faster torpedoes. At the same time, she has fewer main battery guns, less armor deck, as well as low range and higher reload. Jesus. 39.2. That's Mayoka health. That's perfectly fine. For 203mm guns, 15.3 km range. That's not bad. Reload 15. Seems standard. 4x4 torps, which IGN torps that hit like a truck. 8 km range. Oh, if they got good angles, then you can YOLO with them as well. Secondary armament, AA defend. Wait, here. So here's the so-called better AA defense. What? 217. 3 flak. What? This is junk. Anti-aircraft artillery was significantly strengthened. This is junk, though. This is complete junk. It's got a short range aura and a long range aura. The long range only does 84 and only has 3 flak. The AA is junk. 35.5, it's very fast, like they usually are. Surface detect 12.8. What's the conceal? 12.8 x 0.9 x 0.97. It's 11.2. That's not too bad for tier 7. Okay. Good smoke fire penalty. Damage control, defensive AA fire, fighter, repair party, and reload booster. Dude, this thing is so much better than a Mayoka, it's not even funny. If it gets 2 good torp angles and a reload booster and a heal. How is this even comparable to the Mayoka? How is this even comparable to the Mayoka? This is like massive power creep. Just giving it a heal would already make it better than the Mayoka. You would be trading damage for heal, but you got the main battery reload booster, so you can actually get really good burst damage as well. And you got better torpedo angles to torp from. Like, this thing is insane. Tier 7 cruiser with a heal with this much health is super strong. It's not tier 8 now, it's tier 7. That's incredible. That looks like insane power creep. Tier 8 American aircraft carriers Hornet and Yorktown were added to the game. Their parameters are in pre-configuration phase and will be announced later. More CVs, because that's clearly what the game needed. When I read people's opinions on the games, the overwhelming majority has absolutely been telling me that, man, we could sure use some more CVs in this game. That's absolutely been the dominant idea, I've gotten from my viewers. Super carriers. Oh, Jesus. Aren't they already super? They don't detonate. They don't burn. They got a minute-long damage con. They don't deal with bloom issues. They don't have, like, they sit in the back and dumpster ships. How are they not already super? British supercarrier Eagle, an aircraft carrier originally laid down as one of the Audacious class ships. It was completed to a greatly modified design and subsequently converted to operate the most modern types of deck aviation for the 1950s, including jet aircraft. Oh no. You know when there's foreshadowing? You know when you're reading a book, you're watching a movie, you're playing a game, there's this moment of foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing. Whew. American Supercarrier United States. A variant of the United States Super Aircraft Carrier project that sees it become a Navy strike ship with a corresponding change in the architecture and the equipment of the ship. It sees it become a Navy strike ship with a corresponding change in architecture and United States. That's the most American. They're literally trying to monetize America booze here. Literally called it United States. Man, there's so much superstructure to farm on this guy when he's sailing away, and you got this armored deck that's protecting him from all incoming fire, and then you got this superstructure to farm. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Eagle and United States will have two types of squadrons, standard squadrons and tactical squadrons. The standard squadrons are the primary strike force of new carriers, while the tactical squadrons, consisting of jet aircraft, are best suited for quick point-to-point attacks against single targets. What do you mean quick point-to-point attacks against single targets? They can already do quick point-to-point attacks against single targets. That's already what CVs do. They strike anyone on the map very, very quickly. That's what? Oh no. What is this? I want this full screen? Wait. Wait. Oh Jesus, it's so fast. Oh no! No! Holy shit! What is AA supposed to look at the minimap? They're halfway across the map. They're literally crossing the entire map. Oh my god. So these things are gonna you gotta remember when an attack plane starts their attack animation, they go immune to AA. So these things are gonna fly into your AA before your AA can start shooting, and then they're gonna start their attack, and your AA is literally not gonna have time to even activate. It's not gonna do anything. Dude, they have completely given up on the whole World War II concept. They're just making bank of people now. They're just selling broken future shit, and bro, literally faster than some shells, man. Literally faster than some shells. These are the bombers? Wait, what was there a description about the bombers? Was there a description? No. Just showing them off. They're also so fast. One plane with 6k health. You're never gonna do 6k health to this one. And this is probably without modules. This thing can eat flak and survive. Flak doesn't do enough damage. One flak deals what? 1.8k if it's upgraded? This thing can fly to like 4 puffs of flak and still drop you. With upgrades. It can easily fly to 3 flak without upgrades. Jesus, they're literally making it more brain dead. What are these torpedoes? Look at the minimap, how quickly they close. Look at the minimap. How quickly they close in. And this is ocean. Ocean is a huge map. This is a huge map. If you look at on smaller maps, this is going to be so much faster. Ocean is one of the biggest maps in the game. Bro. Is it going to work or not? The main feature of the tactical squadrons of the new super aircraft carriers is the high maximum speed of the planes. It enables them to cover considerable distances quickly and make lightning fast attacks on enemy ships. Hooray! And in good hands, it's also going to allow people to quickly...
Okay, jet airplanes now. Holy crap. What is it with these guys? They gotten desperate? Have their Russian oligarch partners put pressure on them to need more money, comrade. Need more money, comrade. What the WTF? What the... Okay. So, nonetheless, we just finished, you know, they did CVs, did a CV rework. Then they did subs. Now they got to take the subs out and bring them back in. Like, these guys just do not get it. You know? Oh, boy. Unbelievable.
quickly scout out every part of the map. Like, you get this guy on the enemy team, he will boost across the map and scout the entire...
Okay, I gotta add one other thing. This is what happens when Donald J. Trump comes under the umbrella of Vladimir Putin. Even though he's an ex-president now. This is what happens to the world. Oh my. Okay, dokie. Whatever you say, Ouija.
enemy team instantly, and AA won't even touch him. I mean, you don't even need to be good to do that. Any ape with a controller can do that. The Eagle and United States jet planes cannot slow down to below cruising speed, and the engine boost cannot be restored in flight, which doesn't matter because you do one strike and then you send the next one. Eagle and United States tactical squadrons consist of a single attack flight, and they play the role of auxiliary weapon. Similar to hybrid squadrons, they become available a certain amount of time after the battle begins, and they take a considerable amount of time to prepare. Oh, thank fucking Christ for that. Thank fucking Christ that at least they don't instantly there. Due to the small size of the squadron, it is worth avoiding long periods of AA fire, as each lost aircraft reduces the effectiveness of the attack. But wait, are these like a consumable? They're like a consumable, so it doesn't matter if you lose them. So AA will be even less useful against these things, because shooting down planes will be even less valuable. They don't run out, they always recharge. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, you heard it here, folks.
The mighty Jingles. The Royal Navy had some Canberra jet bombers. They were never flown off carriers and were only used as target tugs. Nice research there, Wargaming. Jingles, the problem is you still think that they care in any way about historical things in this game. They abandoned that, like, they have completely abandoned that, sadly, which is really, really sad, because it was one of the things that was great about it, but they've abandoned that entirely. The research isn't there anymore. The research is no longer part. Jesus. World War II. Ships being smashed by jets. The Eagle and United States parameters and squadron setups are in the pre-configuration state and will be announced at a later date. Super carriers will be added to random bundles with other super ships in update 0. And they're putting super ships in random battles. So you're gonna get potatoes that are gonna get a super CB from a random bundle, and they're gonna play in your random battle. They're gonna take up a slot, and no. Oh, what a tragedy this is gonna be. Holy shit.
Okay, what I don't understand is this Eagle and United States aircraft carriers supposed to be tier 10? They had what, the Hornet at tier 8. Did anybody notice? Something to look into.
Random or rank? Probably both. Well, if there ever was a time for this, 2022.
Off to a great start.
Off to a great start is right. Holy moly.
Have a great rest of the evening. Enjoy yourselves, my dudes. I am gonna go, I don't know, probably cork a whiskey or something. Have a good one. Talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Michael J, aka Swifty, glad you could join us. Sit back, sit tight, relax. Okay, so Flamu went off for a quart of whiskey? Holy crap. That's a lot of whiskey. And you know how much sugar that is? You know, back in the day when I was on a roll, a bathtub of vodka would do, but you know, vodka's better for you, especially the Polish type. Polish vodka, #1. Well, I digress. I really don't advocate the overindulging in spirits. Not liquid spirits, anyways. Just thought I'd throw that out there, folks. Thought I'd throw that out there. Any questions, comments? Throw in chat. I think I want to get another opinion on this. I didn't notice what tier the friggin' Eagle and United States are. Friggin' CV, how original. Eagle and United States. No Ronald friggin' Reagan or anything that really was. What the frig is... What is wrong with these guys? Super aircraft carriers. Holy moly. I know Sea Lord Mountbatten did something on this. Where did I find it? Where did I find it? Let's check it out. And then we got to get some gameplay in before it friggin' changes to Space CVs, the Space Command. Hey, it's coming. Ah, gee. Holy moly. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what we can find out. It just gets more hilarious all the time. You gotta love it, folks. You gotta love it. Oh, Kurfürst and Cabarrus are being removed from the game. Holy moly. Oh. Overlord Bow recommends the new British battleship, Incomparable. Okay, well, where can you get it, buddy? Where can you get it? don't see where you can get it. Well, maybe it's out there. I didn't notice. I was on last night. Didn't notice anything. You know, maybe I'm already in the fifth dimension, and hey, world's different to me now. What more can I say? Okay, so let's check out Sea Lord Mountbatten. Let's see, because I know he did one. Ah, here it is. Okay, here it is. Yeah. And then he does the Maya. He's playing the Maya, I think, actually. He actually plays it. So we're going to switch to Sea Lord Mountbatten. Monsieur Mountbatten. Signor Mountbatten. Grazie. Okay, enough of that. Didn't spend enough time in Italy, but hey, what can I say? Let me know in chat what you think, folks. May need a Tylenol.
Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And yes, the title is
Hello.
correct. We
How
are getting
exuberant.
super
As I
carriers
said, maybe
in World
Tylenol
of
time
Warships.
now.
And this is something that I'm pretty sure nobody asked for and very, very few wanted altogether. Now, well, let's just go ahead and get into the dev blog. Link to this will be in the description down below. And I'll throw up any relevant images or artwork as we go through the dev blog. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. All right, close test 11.1 new ships. Japanese cruiser Maya, American aircraft carriers Hornet and Yorktown, as well as two new super ships, British aircraft carrier Eagle and American aircraft carrier United States, are added to the game for testing. So first up, the Maya, a heavy Takao class cruiser in the midst of World War II. It underwent a refit during which one of its main caliber turrets was dismantled and anti-aircraft artillery was significantly strengthened. The cruiser is armed with 8 powerful 203mm guns that have high accuracy and chance to cause a fire by HE shells, but low firing range. She is also equipped with 4 610mm quadruple torpedo tubes with wide aiming angles, something rare for Japanese cruisers, and high torpedo damage and speed. Maya has good concealment, high speed, and HP pool, well-armored deck, but a vulnerable citadel, like other Japanese cruisers. She is equipped with a main battery reload booster consumable, which is not standard for Japanese cruisers, along with the repair party and fighter consumable, and a choice between the DFAA or hydroacoustic search in a single slot. In comparison with the Atago, Maya is equipped with main battery reload booster and has more powerful and faster torpedoes. At the same time, she has fewer main battery guns, less armored deck, as well as a lower range and higher reload time of torpedoes. And they do include the stats here for the Maya. So her 230mm gun, she only has a 15.3 kilometer range, which really isn't bad for a tier 7. This is a tier 7 cruiser? What? Huh. Okay, so it's a tier 7. Alright, I thought it was tier 8. That's really not bad for a tier 7 cruiser. I mean, it's on the shorter side, but definitely workable. HE Alpha is 3300. She has 34mm of HE pin, 70% chance of causing a fire. Her AP and HE come out the tubes at 840 meters a second. AP does a maximum damage of 4,700, 15-second reload time, Sigma of 2.0, and maximum dispersion of 130. Her torpedo tubes, again, 4x4, 610s, maximum damage of 20,967, 8-kilometer range, 76 knots. They reload in 120 seconds. Maximum speed 35.5 knots, 780-meter turning circle radius. A base surface detect of 12.8, although you cannot equip the module on it because this is a tier 7 ship, but even with the commander skill, that should be nice and low. Again, DFA, damage con, fighter repair, main battery reload booster. It's active for 15 seconds, and it cuts the reload time down in half. So with a, 15-second reload time, so cut that down to about 7.5 seconds, so you can get 2-ish salvos off pretty quickly, maybe 3 if you time it right. All right, so that's an interesting cruiser. It looks like it might be a pretty decent one, but we'll see when she comes out. On to the main feature. Okay, first up, the Tier 8
On to the
American
main
aircraft carriers
feature. The show
Hornet
must
and
go on.
Yorktown were added to the game. Their parameters are in the pre-configuration phase and will be announced later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they've added the Hornet and the Yorktown. I think we all know what this means, and I'm pretty sure they're trying to hide it for now. The Hornet is more than likely, I would put money down right now, going to have B-25s some way. Because the Doolittle raid is what the ship is most well known for, and one that we've talked about before in previous videos, talking about future premiums that...
Hold on. You mentioned Doolittle raid. Has historical significance. Ouija seems to be going away from anything historical. Just my 2 cents there, Sea Lord. Just thought I'd throw that at you, buddy.
could be added to the game. The Hornet with B-25s is certainly one of them. Very historical moment. Big moment for naval aviation, of course, and getting back at Japan after Pearl Harbor for the United States. And even in the images that they've released, it's the Hornet. And yeah, but there's something missing on the flight deck, which is, of course, most of the planes. There's a very small number of what I believe will probably be the rocket planes on the rear of the flight deck, but the rest of the flight deck is missing. Yeah, so I suspect that bare flight deck space will probably be taken up with B-25s. How will they balance that in game? I don't know. I'd imagine they'd be very tough planes and have an eternally long reload time for the carrier. And they'll probably be level bombers, of course, too, with a very high number of bombs, but very slow. And we'll see how that works out. That's the only reason why I see they would add in a Hornet and a Yorktown. Yorktown, I'll put money on probably a better balanced Enterprise. Because at this point now we'll have Enterprise, Yorktown, and Hornet in the game. All three of them. So that's what I'm thinking. Yorktown, a more well-balanced Enterprise, or one that they can maybe adjust to the current game with the current mechanics and stuff. Because Enterprise, as good as it was, it's really, really a shadow of its former self. But its former self was so stupidly strong, it's still a pretty good ship, and definitely overpowered in some aspects, but definitely not as much as it used to be. So I could see why they would want to take that, retool.
I don't know. I gotta question his perspective sometimes. You know, he was all for the Thunderer nerf and everything else. I was against it. I felt his argument or perspective had no merit whatsoever. A lot of the player base just friggin' whiners. And they ruined a good ship. Still okay, but, you know, they ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. Like, come on, Sea Lord. Quit friggin' tongue-licking the friggin' Ouija gods.
Pull it a little bit and release a better balanced version of it for sale, so those that want, a Yorktown class carrier can have a Yorktown. And Hornet, again, I don't see any other reason for adding this in if they're not adding in the B-25s on it. It'll be an interesting time with B-25s, and I know CV bad, but I mean, I can't say I'm upset that if they go in that direction, with the B-25s, I'll be okay with that and and we'll see how they get balanced too. Who knows? We don't know how this is going to work yet. They haven't released the stats, but if it's balanced and they can pull it off, I very much like to see it in game. All right, the super carriers now, starting with the Eagle. So, Eagle, an
super
aircraft carrier originally
carriers
dealt
have
with
landed.
audacious class
The Eagle.
ships. It was
What
completed
friggin'
to a
tier is
greatly
this?
modified
Tier 10
design
or
and
something, or
subsequently
what is it?
converted to operate the most modern types of deck aviation for the 1950s, including jet aircraft. So, the Eagle isn't really a super carrier. It's an audacious with more modern technology and more modern aircraft equipped, including jets. Now, we'll get to the jets in a second, and yes, you heard me right. These ships have jets. It's not completely unheard of in game. Midway back in I believe the alpha stages, she had jets. But that was in the RTS stage, of course, too. But yeah, this is getting somewhere. So here's the big one. A legitimate super carrier. the United States. Yes, we have the United States ship, the United States. The United States ship, United States. God, that can be a tongue twister. All right. A variant of the United States super aircraft carrier project that sees
Isn't that something?
that sees it become a Navy.
You got a United States carrier. Was this to commemorate the new Civil War in the United States? The Republican Party's gone rogue, trying to commit coups d'etats. You got a guy, Ron DeSantis, down in Florida. Looks like he's going to try to friggin' take Florida independent from the Republic. Like, mark my words on it. This DeSantis he's got visions of grandeur. He just wants to be up there in lights, up on the stage in lights. I am Ron DeSantis. I am a god. Oh my. Okay, I digress just a titch. Let's go back to the show.
Strike ship with a corresponding change in the architecture and equipment of the ship. So this was a real ship. Kind of. So 1948, the Navy is looking for a way to deploy nuclear weapons. And they came up with this super carrier design, which would be the United States. The main difference between...
Oh, yeah. Nuclear weapons. Yeah. You had, what is it, the rover up at Mars? You see what the landscape looks up there. Well, that's what friggin' Earth will look like if we have a nuclear war. So, this friggin' nuclear weapons is just a friggin' crock of crap just to friggin' position us like the lost city of Atlantis. You look at Mars, look at those lovely rover pictures. Look at that landscape. That's what nuclear war does to your planet. Oh my. Ain't life beautiful?
Between the design that, well, there's several main differences between the design that they came up with and what we see in game, was that in order to accompany the aircraft heavy enough to carry nuclear weapons, the ship had to be a completely...
Oh, and I gotta throw this out there too. And then you got Donald J. Trump's best friend, Vladimir Putin. Oh, we gotta strengthen relationships. Russia is good. Russia's good. What do they got? Over 100,000 troops on the border of the Ukraine? Friggin' using Ukraine as a puppet to negotiate with NATO? Just a friggin' fiasco. Goes to show you. Helsinki. Oh. No need to disagree with Mr. Putin. We love Mr. Putin. Our intelligence experts, we won't talk about them. We love Putin. So, the guy's been, I mentioned this with Ouija. So Trump's been tongue-licking Vladimir Putin because Mr. Putin is his handler. And how do I know that? I witnessed the person that brought him into the fold. So no matter what Donald J. Trump says, everything he says is just for himself, his self-interest. He's doing dealings on the side with Xi Jinping, Putin. He wants to pull off another coup and 2024 become president so that Trump, Putin, and Xi Jinping can control the world. Isn't that such a beautiful thing? Something to look forward to. You people got to wake up and friggin' smell the coffee and figure out what's going on before it's too late. And it starts now. Oh, my. Oh, my.
Flat top, which meant no island at all. Now, if you notice from the image that should have popped up on screen, this ship does have an island. And from what I can see from the general deck design,
Ooh, that
it looks
deck
like the
looks
shape
kind
of the
of pretty.
deck is correct. And including the funnels that stick out the side, which It's funny because they had to put those on there for for it being a completely flat deck, but they did slap an island on it in the version we're getting in game. So there's no funnels behind it. You'd think they would just abandon that and go to the conventional funnel phase, but you know what? Actually, it's pretty neat seeing that on there to kind of a nod at its original design. So this is legitimately a super carrier. This would have been a super carrier if it had been completed. It was canceled in, but not long after the kill was laid down. Yes, it was canceled in 1949, 5 days after they laid down the kill. Yeah, because of military cuts, of course, and we wouldn't see super carrier to the Forstall class came along. But yes, a legitimate super carrier is being added into the game. Now, it is worthy to note that the Eagle and the United States are super ships. They're not tier 10 ships. So, yeah, but they are looking at adding in super ships into random battles.
What? He said they're super ships. How are they going to bring the super ships in? Like, holy crap. Now, there is a way to do it. Let's see if they balance it the right way. The Russian way of balancing things is open up your pocket. The long-term player base of balance things, get the game the mechanics of the gun ballistics, standard, have them consistent across different ship types and things like that. But they've let that stuff lapse, so the game mechanics is off, and it's not as good as it was. And all for the sake of friggin' candy floss. Oh my, did I say that? Yes, I did.
So this will be something all right. Now, they do say down here, Eagle in the United States will have two types of squadrons, standard squadrons and tactical squadrons. The standard squadrons are the primary strike force of the new carriers, while the tactical squadrons consist of jet aircraft and are best suited for quick point-to-point attacks against single targets. And they do include some videos down here showing.
While we're watching this, I'm going to make some coffee, folks. So need another espresso after watching this.
Stupidly fast. They go, I believe, 340 knots. And yes, you heard that right. 340 knots. And you can control them. However, their engine boost cannot recharge, and you only get them. They don't give a specific time, but it's going to be like the Issei's and the Tonei's attack aircraft, where you have to wait 2 minutes for it to charge up. So you get your normal attack squadrons, but then you get these tactical attack squadrons on top of that. Now, they are a small number. They carry a small number of armament per plane as well. So it's not going to be like, you got Nakamov squadrons coming at you at 340 knots, which is a little bit more comforting, but still. Jets are coming to the game. So, yeah. We'll see how this goes. Again, I don't think anyone asked for this. It's an interesting thing for them to experiment with. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I like the Yorktown idea. I'm sorry, not the Yorktown. I like the Hornet idea, if that is what it is. It's a very historical ship. It was a really, really, really major historical event, and it's nice seeing it in the game for enough CVs in the game. But the super ships with the jets, I don't know. We'll see how well they can balance it. I don't think they're going to throw it out the window or anything like that. I think if they come this far too well, they're announcing it to the public. It's probably going to become a thing. I do want to know, how the heck do you shoot down a plane going 340 knots? You don't really even have to worry about continuous AA damage if you're going that freaking fast, of course. I think, that's obviously the idea. But maybe if you get lucky with a flak, you got to a full AA build kid, Smallland, Holland or something, or Austin or something to counter that. But man, what a time to be alive, boys, and to be experimenting this. Now, of course, the two planes that you launch, that is it. It's not a full squadron, so once you lose a plane, it's obviously a pretty major loss. But again, with planes that go freaking 340 knots, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I know that we'll probably hear a lot from a whole lot of y'all, and yeah, this is something that it'll be interesting, and I'll leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will be live streaming tonight here on the channel from 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time to 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time. So please make sure to come out for this stream tonight. We had a great stream last week, and hope we have an even better one this week. So hope to see you guys there tonight. Hope you have a wonderful Friday, and stay warm if you live on the East Coast. By the way, it's about to get pretty nippy there. And hope to catch you guys in the next one.
Well, I mistimed that. My coffee. My coffee just took a little longer to make than the friggin' video took to play out. Oh my. What can you do? Not much. So, what do you guys think of these super ships, friggin' jets? Mountbatten didn't go into too much about that, where Flamu went more in depth. Absolutely. So, what we're going to look at now, I don't know how many of you guys are at Tier 10, but we're going to look at the Tier 10 Tech Tree DDs. So, DDs, if you've been playing the game, are destroyers. So, my good buddy Flamu, guy's got an ego like twice the size of Agartha, Gaia, otherwise known as planet Earth in layman's terms. So, let's... but I'll tell you, he knows the game. He knows the game, and you gotta love him. So, let's look at this. Tier 10 Tech Tree DDs. An in-depth study so that you guys can get a handle of what to look forward to before the super carriers and friggin' jets just friggin' take over. Oh my, did I say that? Yes, I did. Okay, let's get into it.
If you're doing Tech Tree Tier 10 destroyers. Tech Tree Tier 10 destroyers. Shimakaze. This is surprising.
And while we're doing this, folks, I'm going to have a quick smoke, and then I'll be right back. So enjoy. Any questions, just throw in chat, please.
Shimakaze is actually quite good. The problem is it's horrendously misplayed. I think I play a ton of Shimakaze solo on EU. So I think Shimakaze might actually be one of my most played ships on EU. Like, no joke. I think Shimakaze, I have... How many games in Shima? 413 games in Shima, 70% average win rate. The problem really with Shimakaze is that it is by far, I mean by a mile, the single most played ship in World of Warships. There is no ship that even comes close to being as heavily played as Shimakaze. Shimakaze beats everyone out of the water by such a gigantic mile that... the average perception of the Shimakaze is very low, because the players they see playing the Shimakaze often go on the 1 or 10 line and just explode instantly. I mean, you really need to understand like WOW's numbers. You really need to understand. Yeah, like you think something like Yamato. Wow, Yamato is probably going to be played a lot. Like Yamato is probably going to be a heavily played ship. You look at the battles, you're like, whoa, Yamato, 12,000 battles. GK, all the Variaboos playing 12,000 battles. You're thinking like, wow, these are some pretty heavy numbers. Like these are really, really played a lot. But then you look at Shimakaze, and it beats them all out of the water. In terms of destroyers that aren't nearly as popular as battleships, Gearing has half the number at 12 million. Or sorry, at 6.6 million. Sorry, million, not 1,000. Yeah. DDs aren't nearly as popular. Like if you look at the battleships, you can see that, well, we got a fair few bunch here with 12 million, 9 million, and so forth. But Shimakaze is the only one of the destroyers that doubles the numbers of number 2 and just completely stands out. Shimakaze is ridiculously played. So I think that really drags it down. I mean, drags down the perception of the ship, but in terms of tier, probably, actually pretty tough. I really think it's a good ship though. I think it's just a strong ship. I'd probably put it in B. And it's not overpowered. It struggles if you're up against actually a good gunboat that just straight up contests it. It's like it sits here between B and A. That's really it. It sits between B and A. The problem really is if you can't land the torpedoes, Shima lacks very utility. Shima lacks utility big time. I would say Shimakaze is a B tier ship. It's really close to A, but I don't think it quite reaches it. Yu Yang is, well, okay, here I should specify. This is solo play tier list. Solo play tier list. How is Shima good with those shit torps? Well, first of all, the torpedo alpha is completely ridiculous. It does obscene amounts of damage if you land torpedoes. And second of all, the concealment is very, very good. And this is incredibly fast. It is incredibly fast. It's fast, hits like a truck. Like, if you want to understand, like, in terms of damage output, just how much damage this thing does. This is torpedo DPM on the Shima. The only one it beats it is Kleber with his 8 km torps, but Kleber, obviously, we're going to get to that ship later, because we all know about the Kleber thing or two. But Shima's torpedo damage output is really obscene. I don't know why it's the 8 km torps instead of the 12 km. But that thing does a lot of damage. Yu Yang. What a hard call. Is it a C or a B? If this was if this wasn't for solo gameplay, if this was division gameplay, I would put the Yu Yang into B, even borderline A. Like if you got radar cruisers to smoke up, the fast smoke of the Yu Yang is really good. But considering this is solo carry capacity, solo gameplay, Yu Yang is really more of a C than anything. You can catch people off guard, and in really good hands, the radar Yu Yang can be strong. But these are really good hands, and in those hands, other ships would also perform extremely well. So I would actually put the Yu Yang really into C tier. Z52 is a rough one. You have two ways of playing the Z52. Either you're a cap contester with 6.1 conceal and you hide your enemy DDs, and it sees some utility. It can catch people off guard. But the problem really is that so many ships have Hydra these days and so many ships have radar. So the cap contesting Z52 is probably a hard C, like low C. Then there's the pure gunboat Z52, where people, instead of even trying to contest caps, people just build guns and gun range on it, because you got to remember that the Z52 has kind of built-in IFHE. So you actually have 32 millimeters pin on the guns without building for them. So you can just build pure gunboat and just farm a bunch of damage with the ship. You basically with 12.1 range, you build an AFT, and suddenly you're reaching really obscene range in this thing. Like we can build like this, and you got 14.5k range, and you can pin everything 32 millimeters, and you can just run around gunboating everything that moves. It is in good hands. It's really the more popular build and more effective build, but. How high would you really rank that? Because ultimately it lacks speed, it's slow, it's huge. Z52 is a huge, clumsy boat. The torpedoes are really at best. The smokes are German, which is another word for saying the smokes are garbage. 160-second cooldown, they last 77. It's an all-rounder that isn't really particularly good at anything. I don't know what this build is. This is some old EU build. Don't copy that build. It's C. Really, the cap contesting Z52 I would rank hard C, but the gunboat Z52, it's kind of borderline. It's kind of borderline. I think we can put it in terms of fulfilling DD roles. I mean, honestly, if you build gunboat Z52, it's not a very good destroyer. That's really what it comes down to. If the best build on it is the one where you play it like a cruiser, which makes it a really terrible destroyer. That doesn't mean it's poor at farming damage. It's just not very good at being a destroyer. I think this is a pretty hard C for me. What's indeed dog shit? It's hard to rate the DD as dog shit in the current, because DDs are fundamentally game-winning ships. Elbing. C, borderline D. In fact, Elbing I could potentially put into D. If this was overall rating of ships, I would probably put Elbing as a B tier ship. But when it comes to fulfilling DD roles, Elbing is trash. I've said it before, Elbing is a great ship. Well, a good ship. It's good at farming damage, it's fun to play in randoms, but if you really want to win, if you want to solo carry games, you want to win games, Elbing is trash. If you're the only destroyer on your team, Elbing is trash. God forbid if you don't get division mates that provide spotting, like if you end up with a matchmaking that doesn't give you radar cruisers, doesn't give you CV, doesn't give you like other DDs that can spot, and you're being the only guy who needs to fulfill a DD role and you need to push in and contest, it's junk. I would rate this in light cruisers, it would be up here on the BA, but in terms of DD, probably around, honestly, D. It's completely reliant on its team. It's probably the most team-reliant destroyer in this entire lineup because it can't even spot for itself. It can't open water gunboat. Its job is to sit and smoke and farm, and it does it very well. But that's really it. I would say Elbing is a D in terms of solo carry destroyers. I'm sure people would be mad about that, but fundamentally, this is about DDs that can carry you in solo play. And that means randoms or ranked. And honestly, if I play a DD and the enemy has an Elbing and I'm playing something like ranked, I will laugh because I basically win the game easily for our team then. Unless they have like a CV or radars or something. When it comes to fighting the Elbing, he just gets dumpstered. He has no way of dealing with me. I outspot him, I outgun him, I torpedo him if he tries to smoke up. He can't do shit against me. It's a good light cruiser, but terrible destroyer. Terrible destroyer. Holland. Shit. I would rate Holland between A and B. Obviously, if it was comp, it wouldn't make it anywhere near up here. But in terms of random carry power, Holland is probably a solid A for me, honestly. It's BA. I would put it into A. This is a ship that can do everything when it comes to playing. You have enough to fight basically enemy DDs. You have.
So the Howland is a BA, or how about AB? Oh my.
Have good enough DPM, even though you're a torpedo boat, you have good enough DPM to take the fight against them. In fact, if we sort by, let's see, HE DPM, the most valuable thing here, Holland is right up here. Holland has more HE DPM than the Khabarovsk has. It's close to the gearing. And it has
I didn't realize that, but it's only got limited guns though.
This all means that
2
Holland
times
can
2.
easily pick fights against most enemy destroyers.
Interesting.
Smash them. It also has basically some of the best AA in the game. Like when it comes to DD,
Yeah, Holland.
is just
He
superb.
calls it Holland, but I call it
Superb
Howland
strong.
because HA instead of HO.
Obviously, if a
has
CV
the best
can still kill you,
AA
a
out of
CV
all
can
those
still strike
DDs.
you, but a CV struggles to keep you spotted without being smashed.
Interesting.
It's kind of like the way the Holland is balanced. Because Holland doesn't have a smoke, it instead has strong AA to mitigate the plane spotting in another way. So Holland, I would say, and of course then we have the torpedoes, which are, well, the torpedoes are, even though it has technically some of the lowest torpedo DPM, the torpedoes have great range, they are incredibly fast, they are narrow, and the reaction time for actually dodging these torpedoes is very, very low. It's easier to dodge gearing torpedoes than it is to dodge Holland torpedoes because they're so fast. So Holland is, in my book, for solo gameplay once again, an A-class destroyer. I mean, I play a ton. People have seen me play Holland. I have a ton of highlights.
The Holland
I
is
think I have the
A
world record in the Holland as well.
tier.
So obviously I
just
am
below
biased
OP.
when it comes to Holland. I love the
Nice.
ship. But it's a ship, when I take it into randoms, it doesn't matter what I face. If I face enemy gunboats, I can probably outplay them, outgun them, potentially torp them. If I face nose-in Stalingrad's Petros, I can probably torpedo them because I have the narrow spread. If the enemy has a CV, I know he will struggle to do much against me unless he's very good, because I can shoot down the planes. If the enemy has stealthy DDs that contest like Shimas and such, I can push in, I can just outgun them. Holland is a ship that kind of, I feel, can do everything. It's, for divisions, it's not that strong because you lack smoke, but once again, this is for solo gameplay, and for solo gameplay, Holland is really powerful. What would you consider the stronger for comp? Småland, probably. Small and Ragnar are both ridiculous. I mean, this is tech trees. Otherwise, Small and Ragnar would both be in the OP tier. Daring, pretty solid A. Daring is Grand Admiral Kainu. Thank you for the 10 months.
Daring's got to be B. Come on.
The single launch torpedoes gives it great versatility. You can drop the spreads, or you can drop the single launch against
I would
targets.
classify Daring as B.
DPM.
What's he gonna put it
what
here?
is supposed to be a destroyer. I mean,
What's he
look at
gonna
the
do?
DPM. Let's see, main battery. Daring sits here in terms of, oops, let's sort it like this. So Daring sits here in terms of AP DPM. It almost matches the German, and you build the Daring for guns, you got to remember that. And the HE DPM is also right.
Very
right
interesting.
It's very, very
I'm
high.
putting
The base
Daring as
range
B.
is
Let's see
good.
where he puts
It's
it.
got the improved pen angles on the AP, and the short fuse, which means the AP is actually a lot more flexible than said 52 AP. It's got enough conceal. The torpedoes are nasty, surprisingly nasty, in fact. And the fact that you can single launch them makes them so very powerful. They have a long cooldown, to be fair, but more importantly than all of this is the fact that this consumables that the Daring has makes it exceptionally good at kind of dealing with everything. Daring comes equipped with a fast reloading smoke that only has a 66-second cooldown, and you put it down for 10 seconds, it lasts for 40. This means, and you also have 6 of them, this means that unlike a Holland that needs something like AA to deal with planes, Daring can easily use a smoke just to quickly secure the objective to make sure it doesn't get reset by a CV or something. You push in, you pick fights with enemy DDs, you can it has built-in acceleration as well. This is basically the best smoke in the game because you get tons of them and they're great against everything. You can pop them to cap, you can pop them to pick fight against an enemy ship. This is
Yeah, I like
great
Daring.
tool
That's
for
one of my
fighting
favorites.
everything.
Yu Yang, you put
And then
it
it's
C.
supported-
Hold on a sec, guys. Yeah, Daring's one of my favorite DDs. And I'm not a DD player, I'm a cruiser player. And the Yu Yang, I like it, but they nerfed the friggin' guns, which was a dumb friggin' move. They should put them back to where they were. That's the thing that hurts the Yu Yang. But that's my 2 cents, folks. My 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth.
By the short range Hydro. 3 km range, which means when you smoke up and you fight those enemy DDs, or you smoke up and you secure that camp, you're not going to get torpedoed in the camp because this Hydro protects you. So this makes it just really good at fighting enemy DDs, really good at securing objectives. And then finally you have Heal, which combined with the already very, very solid health pool means that you have a ton of sustain. And you have shit tons of damage output. You got a good turret set up with both turrets on the nose, so you can literally go nose in and smash. Daring is an all-rounder that is basically great against everything. The biggest weakness really it has is repositioning, and that because it's one of the slowest destroyers in the game. Really reason why you have turn rate mod over acceleration, because it literally has built-in acceleration. You can't slot, it has Royal Navy acceleration, so you can't even slot the acceleration mod. So that's why you end up with an insane rudder shift, insane turning circle, and built-in acceleration mod. So, and the turrets are 360 degrees. Daring is, for solo gameplay, it just really, really good at everything it does. Really, really good. Oh yeah, now with subs in the game, you have to highlight the fact that it gets Royal Navy ASW, which means, well, your depth charge damage is completely obscene. You drop 16 bombs that deal 3.6k a pop. You compare it to something like Z52, and like the damage difference from 3.6k to 1.6k. It's really, really high. So chat's in the way. Well, you can kind of see it, and you heard what I said. So basically, in terms of ASW, really, really strong. In terms of everything, really, really strong. So Daring goes into A tier for sure.
Nice. Daring goes in ace. Nice.
First of all,
I like
Kleber
that.
goes straight into
Cool.
overpowered.
What do you put
Kleber
in OP
is straight up
Kleber, eh?
overpowered shit. There are multiple things that make the Kleber overpowered. Kleber is fantastic in randoms, fantastic in ranked, and even fantastic in competitive. It has so many things going for it. It's really
Maybe
hard
I should get
to,
that one.
well, we can start.
It's always nice to have
basically
stuff in
getting
your
it up.
toolkit, you know what I mean?
On the Kleber. You can build it ambush style, or you can build it pure gunboat style. Both work fine. The thing, well, if you build it gunboat style, you can reach a completely absurd 16.3 kilometer range. I think this is like, yeah, this is a bit of a hybrid. This is ambush plus gunboat style. 16.3 km range. To put that into perspective, WOWS range is 16.2. Okay, this thing can get 16.3. So just to understand, and this is while running the reload mod. So in terms of gun range, god tier. The shell velocity is incredible. The shell velocity is just really incredible. In fact, if we look at AP shells, and we can look at, let's say, penetration at 10 kilometers. Well, you have the Elbing that stands out because, once again, it's a great light cruiser. But include Mr. Elbing from here, the Kleber to the other destroyers. Kleber can citadel, well, it can citadel the likes of Smolensk. Smolensk, it can citadel at max range. So at 16 km away, you can citadel the Smolensk. At 15 km away, you can citadel Minotaurs, Neptunes, basically all the light cruisers in the game. And if you push in to closer ranges, like 8 km, you can citadel Des Moines and such. So Kleber's AP is monstrously good. More importantly, the drag coefficient is extremely low, which means that the flight time is actually incredibly low as well, sitting right here. So Kleber as a gunboat is god tier. This gunboating, this range plus penetration, all of this is supported by an 11% fire chance, which is in itself already solid, but then you also have the reload booster. 50%, 15 seconds, and while this is active, I think you have basically the best DPM in the game, combined with railguns, combined with hard-hitting fire-starting guns. This all means that, well, you outtrade any DD you run into. And big weakness of this ship supposed to be is of course the concealment. With this is full concealment 7.8. It's supposed to be a weakness, but when you're running 46.2 knots and then you add in a speed boost of 20% and you're doing something like 55 knots, you can run into enemy DDs, and before they have time to even turn away, you're already spotting them, and then you just dumpster them with the reload booster and you disengage. This is combined with 25.9k health, which in itself is already good, but Kleber has fringe saturation, which means that it actually eats less damage once the parts on the ship saturate significantly faster, and because of this, it eats significantly less damage when it goes low HP. So this thing is, not only can you Citadel and dumpster.
Oh, folks, you got to understand. This is why I like Flamu. You're not going to get. There's no one on YouTube or playing this game that has the in-depth knowledge that he has. So you got to appreciate that. And so Kleber looks like it's in the top spot as OP. It's sitting by itself right now.
Trade any DD that you fight as if you do it during a torpedo reload or your gun reload booster. So did they fix the situation? Yes. So Kleber is incredibly fast, incredibly versatile with the range, hard to kill, hard to hit to begin with. Just hitting this guy, like most of the time when people shoot you, you don't even change course, you just go in a straight line. They always underlead because it's so stupidly fast. So it's ridiculous in that sense. It says junk AA, but carriers don't really hit you because of your speed. Does it outtrade the Neostra? It dumpsters the Neostra. It completely dumpsters the Neostra. It's not even a competition. And then finally we have the Torpedoes. Now, you really need to appreciate the Torpedoes. I feel like you really need to appreciate the Torpedoes on the Kleber because the torpedo angles are so completely ridiculous. And to understand this, we need to look at the torpedo angles. The torpedo firing angles on the Kleber are ridiculous. It is the best YOLO ship in the game because it's so fast and the torpedo angles are so good and it has the saturation mechanic built in as well.
Okay, he's got me convinced. I'm getting a Kleber.
Directly with the
I don't like DDs, but I'm telling you, if you can get the best tools in the toolkit, that's the way to friggin' do your job.
It's so hard to deal with. And if this thing jumps you, well, you see, one of the greatest selling points for the Kleber is the fact that people play this in competitive and people use it to trade off ships that they don't want to deal with. If there's a Des Moines in an annoying spot, there's a Petro in an annoying spot, you send in your Kleber and you just tell him go kill, and the Kleber always goes and kills, and basically the enemy team will manage to trade the Kleber usually after, hopefully, but not every time, and the Kleber basically always secures the kill. It's insanely good at YOLOing as well. And well, of course, we do need to speak about the Torpedoes themselves. The Torpedoes reload stupidly fast. They hit like a truck. They are incredibly quick, and it's just so many of them. So many of them, really. It's incredibly hard to deal with. We're talking about 12 torpedoes on this thing. So, yeah, hard to deal with. Incredibly hard to deal with, incredibly powerful. No real weaknesses besides supposed AA and concealment, but the speed makes up for both these weaknesses. 12. Yes, you got 6 per side. 6 per side. So it's just, the alpha potential of this ship is completely absurd, because they hit for 18.4k pop.
And I gotta admit, I like
Kleber
that French blue on their ships. That's just so, so sweet. Doesn't it give me a warm, fuzzy feeling?
Haruguma. Now that's... I can't wait for ship tool to go down because all the potatoes run out of it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Developer of the site. You should... Guy who makes ship tools, you should add a donation button somewhere there so I can donate. Because it's a really nice site and I really like it. And if you had a donation button like PayPal or something, I would absolutely donate to it. Because I don't mind donating to sites that I use. The
Harugumo I like.
That thing is very... Harugumo. Harugumo in a division is really strong. You can either use it as a smoke bot with the legendary mod, really powerful, or you can just use it as a gunboat support for another destroyer, also really powerful. But solo gameplay, Haruguma. Whew. That's probably a B tier for me. It's BC maybe. Honestly, it's you can still build a gunboat, and you don't sacrifice quite as much making gunboat. You end up with something like 6.7 conceal, which isn't the end of the world or something, or is it 7. It might be pretty bad, but in a solo gameplay, it's really good. It's 7.2. Yeah, it's 7.2. Sorry, that's if you don't even build concealment expert. It's pretty damn vulnerable. Haruguma has a fair bit of weaknesses, namely that it's really large as well, which makes it easy to hit, and it eats tons of torpedoes. It has no hydro. The maneuverability is rough. It does a shit ton of DPM. Let's make no mistake. In terms of DPM, like, this thing is a real monster. Of the tech tree ships, this thing is a real monster, and you build it for guns as well. It tops the AP charts, it's topped the HE charts, and you build it for gunboating as well. It's 30mm guns, so it has built-in penetration as well. It has built-in pen, so you pen 30mm from the get-go. It's strong. The gun power is very, very strong. The problem is it handles like junk. We're talking junk. We're talking junk, absolute junk. Only the Elbing has a worse turning circle.
In other words, it handles like crap, and I gotta agree with him there.
In a division with someone to spot for you, strong ship, probably B, maybe even A. But solo? 6.9 conceal. What is this build? Oh, this is gunboat. Why is it at 6.9 with gunboat? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't 7.2. Who said 7.2? Is this if you run steering gears or something? But you don't really need that. It's a tough one. I play it mostly solo. I play it a ton solo. I don't really know how well I actually do in it. This is gonna be interesting. Haruguma. The damage output, great. The win rate. That's a really tough one. I can't decide if I want to put this thing into... I think I'm just going to put it... Is it C or B? Solo gameplay? Solo gameplay. Maybe it's... It's a hard call. It's roughly between B, C. That's where I put it for solo gameplay. I don't think it's bad, and you can't. I don't think it's a C, mostly because the gun power is so obscene. Like
yeah, I agree. I think I'd put it in B.
Damage.
Because of the guns, I'd put it in B.
Simply for the sheer damage output it has. It's not very easy to play because of the clumsiness, and most people get twerped a lot in smokes. They get radar. They get punished in multiple ways. But for the sheer damage output, in terms of tech tree cruisers, there is no ship that will out damage it. There are ships that will outtrade it, like the Kleber. Kleber can literally straight up 1 versus 1 Haruguma because you pop reload booster and you have the saturation, and then you outtrade it. But that's Kleber. That's why it's here. Let's see, what else do we have? Tech tree cruisers, or sorry, destroyers. What are we missing? Kaba. Is it the C or a D?
You're taking the Kaba out of the game, though, so I don't know.
Thing is, if I'm the solo destroyer, I'd rather play Kaba than I'd play Elbing. If I'm a solo DD and I have to fulfill DD roles, I'd rather play a Kaba than an Elbing, because at least I have heal, and at least I have speed, and I have some semblance of armor. But it's not worse than D. It's roughly between C and D on my book. Elbing has concealment, sure, but I mean, if you're the solo DD, you still get outspotted, and Kaba gets outspotted as well. But Kaba, unlike that, can actually juke and do things. Kaba can actually juke and do things. Do I have any Kaba games on my E account? I have some on Russia, and I've actually been doing quite well on it, and those are much more recent than these. They're much more recent than these. These are probably pretty old combo games. Yeah, I think these are pretty old combo games. These are pretty old combo games. What a hard call. But I can't put it with these, because when it comes to solo carry potential, both of them have better, so I have to put it in D. I feel like there should be an additional tier maybe, and I could move Elbing there or something. But I can't put it up with the carry potential of Yu Yang and Z52, because they have more winning power than I feel Kaba has. Oh well. Let's see. Shikishima, Kremlin, Montana, Grozovoy. Grozovoy. What a hard one.
Pretty sure Grozovoy has the same guns as Smolensk.
I think it's B or C. Grozovoy kind of struggles in the current meta. Grozovoy has a lot of issues to it these days. The big size and the sheer amount of gunboats in the game right now means that the Grozovoy doesn't just outtrade its way through anymore. And the great strength of the ship back in the day was that, well, it used to have good AA, but Wargaming really have gone out of their way to just brutalize this AA to the point where the continuous damage doesn't really do anything, and you only have 4 flak. And this thing is big, and it's quite clumsy. Like, in terms of size, Grozovoy is really, really huge. Grozovoy is a gigantic destroyer. The thing is, though, Grozovoy also has the gunboat build available to it, because it has really good shell velocity, the DPM is quite good, you can just build it pure gunboat and farm. Kind of like the Z52, you can build it pure gunboat and farm. Grozo sits here, and Grozo sits here. It's not exactly impressive gunboat power, but you have smoke, you have maneuverability, you have good range, you have good shell velocity. I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, I would have put Grozovoy solidly into B. Now though, I just feel it's so vulnerable. You just get bullied so hard. No one really plays it anymore. It's BC. I'm tempted to put it B because of the sheer amount of consumables the thing has. You gotta understand, Grozovoy comes equipped with a whole tier of things. The defensive AA is a bit of a meme, but smoke and heal are very, very useful. Pure gunboat, and you get if you build for the legendary, you get a shit ton of DPM out of the thing. Because this one is 18%. So you end up with a 3.4 second reload on these guns, which is actually quite filthy. The problem is, the trade-off for getting all of these is that you only have 2 each, which forces you to build Superintendent. Well, basically forces, yes, because you run out of them so fast. It's been power crept hard. It's power crept hard. It really has been power crept incredibly hard. Who plays Grozovoy anymore? Does anyone play Grozovoy anymore? When it comes to fulfilling the base DD role, it's pretty poor. What's looking at 6.1 concealment or something on it? I think I'll put it C tier. I don't really fear the Grosso. I think the issue with the Grosso these days is that it's so huge. It's so huge and so clumsy that it makes it easy to hit, and there's so many things that just dumpster DDs in the open. Where the fuck is there? Like, size, I think, is the issue. If you don't have leg mod, especially, it's C. With leg mod, it might be B. I don't know. The torps are underwhelming. Yes, the torps are pretty damn underwhelming. The problem is, especially if you build leg mod, you end up with an absurd torp reload time of 154 seconds, 2.5 minutes basically on the reload. Like, let's see. Let's see if I can show you this. Here. Grossovoy.
I should go and C. What do you think, folks? C? I think C. Let's see what he does.
Look at this. Grossovoy compared to the size of something like a Gearing or a Daring. Like, it's a huge ship. It's closer to a Hayate in size than anything else. And it's also very thick, which is also a problem. You don't want to be a very thick destroyer in World of Warships, because you arm a lot of short fuse 18. Fuck, what a hard one. This is actually one of the more difficult ones. I'd say I'd put it in maybe... Shit. C with the caveat that if you build that gunboat and if you have the leg mod, then it's more of a B tier ship. All the nerfs have heard it so much, especially the AA nerf, because at least you could bring it as AA support back in the day. You can't do it anymore. It feels rough. Honestly, there's a reason no one plays it anymore, and it's not very fun to play in the current meta. It's struggles.
There it is. C, folks. Oh my crystal ball's working well today. Phil JD, thank you for the third. Thank you, Clona, as well, and Grand Admiral Kano. What else do I have? Delny, Midway. Gearing. Gearing is the last Tech 3 ship. I think Gearing just goes straight into B. Gearing is just straight B. Yeah, definitely Gearing's
rows,
a B class for sure. I'm with him on that. B for Gearing.
I think Gearing just goes straight into B. It's a solid... Oh, let me drag it from here. I think it's a solid, all-round ship, the Gearing. It is... it's got good especially leg mod Gearing.
Yeah, Gearing... with all the changes, with all the DDs, Gearing has held up quite well. And yeah, it's a solid B destroyer, no matter how you cut it. And what's a real shame is I like the Yu Yang, and they nerfed the guns because the Yu Yang should be B with Gearing, but they nerfed the guns, and that's why it's at C. And that's my perspective on that.
Especially leg mod Gearing goes up here, because leg mod Gearing is a fucking pain to deal with. This thing is so annoying to deal with. This improved hull conceal, it's such a nightmare to deal with. Like, the torps are insane. For those who aren't aware, if you slot this thing, Gearing ends up with a concealment of 5.6, which basically straight up matches Shimakaze's conceal. It's super frustrating to deal with. Super frustrating to deal with in multiple ways. You can build it, well, in various ways if you want, but the torpedoes are insane. They're incredibly quick, they hit hard, they got great range at 16.5. There's really never a moment where you can't drop the torpedoes. If you're in well, especially if you want to help any teammate. If you have a teammate in any way worth using, the smokes are basically the best, some of the best smokes in the game for the sheer duration of the smoke. Does this show? Yeah, here we go. Smoke dispersion. I mean, this plus this mean you can basically smoke up your entire team to a completely absurd level. The torpedoes themselves, the torpedo DPM might not exactly blow you away, but the range and the reaction time to dodge them, if you're not running Hydra and there's these coming towards you, they're rough to deal with. If it was comp, it would be not B but A tier. If it was for competitive play, then I'd just move it up one step here to A tier, because it's just so good in any sort of team play situation. But even in solo gameplay, it's just an all-round solid ship. The HE DPM sits it right up here next to the Daring. You gotta keep in mind though that it does have the slight advantage of having a bit more armor, the 21mm plating. You might think, well, that's not too big of a deal, but for example, something like Holland really struggles to fight the gearing. It's one of the worst ships to fight in Holland because your HE shatters on the gearing armor. He outspots you, especially if it's legendary. Even without it, he outspots you. He outguns you, and then he shatters your HE. So gearing is just nasty as hell to deal with if you're playing something like a Holland. Before the IFHE rework, the armor was even better, but honestly, gearing is one of those ships that still hold up, and solo play, easy B. If it was division play, straight up to A. Straight up to A. Unless they give broadside and you smash them with AP. Yeah, that would basically be my tick trees. Tier 10 tick tree destroyers. Gearing and Haru on the same level. Yeah, but they're both ships that really scale hard with... it depends on the situation. Haruguma makes... Like, Shima makes this tier because of concealment and torpedo power. Haruguma makes this tier because of sheer raw DPM. Gearing makes this tier as an all-rounder. They have different reasons to be here. And then Holland and Daring makes this tier because of a multitude of things that they're good at. And Kleber makes this tier because it basically has no real weaknesses. Besides team play, but this is solo, so... And even for solo, it's insane. Or team play, it's insane. That would be... That's my take. Of course, this is just my opinion. People are free to disagree.
Yeah, free to disagree. I agree totally, but I think I agree totally with where he's put everything because he really knows these ships better than anybody else, folks. He absolutely knows these ships better than anybody else. So I agree totally with him. So let's take one last look here. So we've got the Kleber, which is the French destroyer, as OP. In A class, we've got the Halland and the Daring. B class, Shimakaze, Haragumo, and Gearing. C class, Yu Yang, Z52, and Grazovoy. And D class, oh my, D class, Elbing and Khabarovsk. I think that's well placed based on the strengths, the overall position within gameplay, and the options available for the different game styles. Because I got to tell you, random's a different game style from competitive, like ranked, and also from clan battles. So that's my take on that. So I'm with him on that. I agree, absolutely agree with Flemu on that. No doubt about it, folks. No doubt about it. So, I guess we're basically going to call it a day for today. Tomorrow we'll get some gameplay in. I would have liked to have gotten some gameplay in today, but due to the late start, due to technical difficulties, and partially to my boneheadedness as well, got to admit, hey, when you're a participant in, I just missed a couple things. Otherwise, I could have remedied it much sooner, but hey, what can I say? So listen, folks. Remember, COVID-19, it's real. It's not a hoax. It's a simple process to learn to live with it and Number one, vaccines aren't perfect, but it's your best defense. It helps keep you alive. Is it perfect? I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, but I've taken 3 shots now. Did I want to do it? No, but I like life. And by taking it means I stay out of the hospital for the most part. I won't be on a ventilator because of it. But there's a combination of, and it's not for everybody because certain health issues, you have to be careful. And that's why you need medical advice going in. You have to get yourself educated about it. So from my perspective, number one is the vaccine. Number two, number two is masking. And number three is social distancing, contact tracing thereafter. And all those steps need to be done in order to get a handle on this. And some people say, well, my rights have been infringed upon. And yeah, in a lot of ways they have been. No doubt about it. I believe in free will, and freedom of expression is one of the most important things. It is the most important thing a human being can have. But you got to remember, folks, the question is, do you love yourself? Do you love your family? Do you love your community? Do you love human beings, no matter what color of skin and where they're located in the world? These are the things you have to ask yourself. And I got to express another viewpoint, and I don't think anybody's really looking at it from this point of view. And that is when you exert your will on others that denies them the free will of expression and life and liberty. Life and liberty. You got to remember with this COVID-19, it's highly contagious, and by not wearing a mask, it could be asymptomatic. You're not even aware you're carrying it, and you can infect a few people in no time flat, which becomes a few hundred people within a day or two. And within a month, you've probably infected, snowball effect, and many, many thousands of people. And this is where you have to really think about more than just yourself and balance it with the people you love and your natural love for mankind. So just got to stick that out there. It's just my opinion. We call that the Opine from Michael J. But life is precious, and especially with children. Children, they are super precious, and we've got to take care of them. So stay safe, be good, with love, peace, and harmony to everyone, all human beings on this earth. Michael J., have a great day. Talk to you all soon. Love you all. And when I was playing hockey down in the States, there was, I went through West Virginia a few times. And one of the things I remember about West Virginia was a certain saying, "You all come back now, you hear?"